Hi, I'm Mr. Barr, and this is the practice test for Math 8, the number system. So in this video, I'm talking about how to estimate square roots and how to identify rational and irrational numbers. So here are some rational numbers. So how do I take a 0.4 repeating and turn it into a decimal? I just take 4 and then put it over a 9. So 0.7 repeating is 7 over 9, and 0.9 repeating is 9 over 9, which is equivalent to 1. Let's approximate the square root of 280. Okay, so I don't know the square root of 280 in my head, so I have to find some numbers around it that I do know. So I might do 15 times 15. Well, 15 times 15 is 225, so it's not 15. Let's do 16 times 16. 16 times 16, I can just work this out on my paper. 16 times 60 is 256. So the square root of 256 is 16. 17 times 17 is 289. So the square root of 289 is 17. So I'm looking for the square root of 280. The square root of 280 is somewhere in between these two numbers. And I think it's a little bit closer to 289 than 256. So it's closer to 17 than 16. So I estimated it at 16.8. And if you got anything between 16.5 and 16.9, you're good. Select all the expressions that are more than 8 and less than 14. Two ways to do this. First off, you could square 8, which is 64, and square 14, which is 196. And then pick all the numbers that are between that. So 68 and 110 are between those two numbers. The other way is to just go through and estimate each of these square roots. So if I estimate the square root of 50, it's a little bit more than 7, so 7 plus. Square root of 68 is a little bit more than 8, so 8 plus. Square root of 110 is a little bit more than 10, so about 10 plus. And the square root of 200 is, what's that, about 14 plus, a little more than 14. So 7 plus isn't between it, 8 plus is between it, 10 plus is between it, 14 plus is not between it. To do the square root, I'm going to start by simplifying this expression, and this simplifies to 34. So I'm looking for the square root of 34. Well, the square root of 34 is between 5 and 6, and it's a little bit closer to the 6, so I put it at 5.8, and I selected C. Approximate this square root. Here, I'm going to take the square roots first and then add it together. So the square root of 37 is a little bit more than 6. I put it at 6.1. And the square root of 65 is a little bit more than 8. I put it at 8.1. And I added them together. So I would take anything between 14.1 and 14.3. Tell if each comparison is true or false. The square root of 17 is about 4. Is 4 less than 5.1? True. The square root of 37 is about 6, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I put that at 2. And is 2 greater than, well, 8 divided by 5 is about 1.5. Is 2 bigger than 1.5? True. The square root of 110 is about 10.5. Is that less than 10.9? True. This is a repeating decimal, so it's rational. This includes pi, so it's irrational. I know the square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's rational. The square root of 13 I don't know. That's irrational. This is a terminating decimal, so it's rational. And this is a fraction, so it's rational. Square roots that I don't know and pi. That's what I'm looking for when I look for irrational numbers. Order these numbers from least to greatest. Well, this is 4 plus the square root of 15. Square root of 15 is about, it's a little bit less than 4, so I'm going to go with 3.9. Add them together, I get a 7.9. Pi minus 5, well, that's about 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. Square root of 85, well, that's a little bit bigger than the square root of 81, so maybe 9.2. Oh, okay, that's 9. Okay, so I said this is about the square root of 9 divided by 2, which would be about 4.5. So let's order it. This is the smallest, then this guy, then that guy. Cube root of 210. All right, so I'm just going to start playing with the numbers. I go 5 times 5 times 5, and that gives me 125. So I got to go bigger than that. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, so it's right around the cube root of 216. So it's a little bit less than that, so maybe about 5.9. I'd say anything between 5.7 and 5.9 is a good answer. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good day.